Hey guys, welcome to another driving test video. So this was a driving test at Handsworth Driving Test Center on Monday the 10th of July 2023, and the test was at 8:10 in the morning. So this test was a pass, and it was just one minor fault. So just one driving fault, and this was during parking. So let us get through the video and see what we can learn from this, and perhaps see what the route looks like. So if you've got test at 8:10 in the morning, 10 past 8 a.m., so this again is probably one of few routes that you might possibly be taking. So let's get through to it. Also, before the driving test, I actually did a couple of mock tests for Jocelyn before the test. And if you haven't watched this and you wanted to see what a driving was like before this test, to have been able to come with such an amazing result, then check the link below in the comment box, and I would have them in there, and you can just click through to them. And also to remind you that the speed you see on the screen is always about 1 to 2 miles below the actual speed displayed in the car. So keep this in mind, because I've got messages sometimes where people leave comments that the driver was driving too slow below the speed limit. So if you see 22 displayed on the screen, then you're most likely will be having 24 displayed on the car on the dash. So keep this in mind. And secondly, the distance between the learner's vehicle and the cars in front would most likely always look like there's a big gap in between. And that is because the camera is a 360-degree angle camera, which means this is like a fish eye lens. So things would always look a lot more wider because the lens stretches what you see, and that makes it look like if there is a big gap in between. But keep this in mind, I would switch in between the dash cam and the roof camera every now and then, so you have a good perspective of the distance between the learner's car and the cars ahead. As the road opens up to two lanes here, as you would see, Jocelyn keeps to the left and remains in the left lane. So this is good lane discipline. Keep this in mind. And also, as you would see, she keeps good speed on the road. So about 38, 39 miles an hour. And because Jocelyn is taking the second exit at the roundabout ahead, which is the right, she changes lane in good time. Now remember that if you did this after the traffic light, it is also not a problem. But I always advise that when you approach this roundabout, if it's safe and the road is clear before you pass the light, you can also change your lane, because sometimes if it's too busy and you crosses that light, it might become more difficult for you to get yourself into the right lane to anticipate the roundabout. As she's now in the national speed zone, I'd like to remind you that at all times, don't forget that your speed should only be according to the traffic situation and if it is safe. Don't chase the number. You don't need to get to 60 on this road or anywhere else whatsoever. Examiners are not expecting you to hit the 60 marker. They just need you to make good progress. Don't sit on 40 miles an hour on a 60 road when it's safe for you to actually make more progress. And that also does not mean get yourself as quick as possible and jump to 60, even though your car is shaking all around because you're nervous and you're not comfortable with the speed you're doing. Build up your speed. Don't take forever, but at the same time, don't rush into it. And remember, I always advise on a 60 road like this with good space and it's safe, and on a dry sunny day like this, then about 57, 55 miles an hour would be a good speed to be on. Sometimes some people do get away with 50 miles an hour, which is not a big deal. You can be lucky, but keep in mind you don't need to be jumping at 60. That's my point. And if you are at 57 or 55 and situation changes that requires you to reduce your speed, then don't forget to do that. Don't keep yourself stuck at one point because you are worried about being failed for driving at a lower speed, because then that's when you're going to fail for not adapting your driving or your speed according to the situations ahead or in front of you. So keep that in mind. So we're coming to this roundabout. If you've watched the routes that we did with Jocelyn on the mock, then you would probably know this route already. Funny enough, we actually did this about 2 or 3 times. So yep, it's gonna be straight second exit at this road, and then we are in 50 zone. So as she enters into or exits the roundabout again, she makes progress and builds up the speed gently and nicely. So this is really good. I'm not surprised. Jocelyn is very capable once she is relaxed. And this is the same with many, many, many other learners that I've encountered. Many of the times you can actually drive so well, but the nerves does not allow you to keep calm and give your best to it. So don't forget, always try and stay calm. The worst case scenario is going to be a fail and you come back again. And if you don't want that to happen, then best case scenario is just to stay calm and just enjoy the drive. Let the examiner feel safe. Get them back to the test center safely, and you'll be happy at the end. Of course, the speed limit changes just as you approach the roundabout, and this is one of the situations where many learners miss the signs and do not realize that it's now 40. So keep this in mind. Speed can change before a junction or after as you enter into the new road. So don't get caught out and always look out. Don't ignore the circles or the squares or whatever shape or colors you see as you approach or as you drive on the road. Look out for poles, look out for the signs on them. So yep, as we enter into this roundabout, it is now 40, and don't forget that. Remember to always maintain your lane as you enter into the roundabout. Don't leave your lane and start straddling into the lane on your right or the left if you happen to be in the right lane. Maintain your lane, don't cross lines unless if you're changing lane, and do that safely. So Jocelyn's done this consistently very well, which is very good. And as Jocelyn approaches this sign ahead, she's already planning ahead and she's already reducing her speed, as you would see. And just as she gets to that sign, she's already below 30. Again, very good. if you are not used to driving on a tram line or on a road that's shared with trams, then you might want to practice this because sometimes the lines and the tram tracks or the tracks can get a bit confusing if you're not used to it. So just pay attention, especially when the lines are faded. And this is one reason why many learners run away from Middlewood to Handsworth. But it's not a big deal, at least Handsworth is much better than the tram situations in Middlewood. So just do a bit of practice and drive around those roads and get yourself used to it and familiar to it so that you don't drive into a specific area that's actually meant for trams only, which of course the examiner is going to prevent you from going into it. But yeah, that's a possibility that can happen. And of course, if that happens, then it's going to be a serious fault if an examiner has to stop you from venturing into a tram only space. And Jocelyn did quite very well on this road because driving on tram lines or tracks are one of our worst nightmare. And that's why we abandoned Middlewood in the first place. And to make it worse, we actually never came to this side of the road. So coming here for the first time on a test and having to deal with trams and the tracks and these situations, she did quite very well. And I was very impressed when she came and said to me, we went on that road with the tram line and, we didn't go straight like we did in the route and it's just another road taking me right onto the tram lines. So that was really good. Very, very good. And this is just what it is. If you learn to pay attention to the signs, look around you, be aware of what you see, and plan ahead, it's going to be all fine because most of the roads are going to be just a road you're not used to, but then it's literally the same thing as the road you're used to. The problem here is most people are used to knowing where they're going and they are expecting to see what they know is ahead of them. And the minute you don't see what you expect to see, you fall apart. You get worried, and that's when you make the mistake. So keep in mind, it is just the same road. You're just not used to it. But look out for the signs. As the light ahead is red, Jocelyn waits just before the junction to give way to cars turning right from the main road. Although this is not compulsory because it's not a keep clear or yellow box, but it's a good practice to help keep the flow of traffic. But you've got to know when to do this because you do not want to try and give way to traffic and then it becomes a problem for you to move on because sometimes drivers can be very selfish and you give one driver way, then 50 drivers want to go through. So be aware, be confident with what you're doing so that you know you can get yourself moving again when it's necessary. Remember that when you come across any stop signs or stop junctions that you should be coming to a complete stop at the stop line before moving on when it's safe to do so. If the instruction you're given on this road is to continue straight ahead, remember then to change to your right lane because the left lane is going to be bearing left, as you would see here. So keep this in mind, don't forget. But if you're too late to change lane, then just continue, keep left, and don't do a last minute unsafe lane change. So they are now back to the test center and they will be going around to do forward bay parking. So that's why they've actually come this way. If you've already done your parking, then you probably would just go straight into the parking bay where they started, and then we get the feedback. So remember guys, if you have enjoyed this video, don't forget, please like the video, share if you can to anyone you know who is having their test either in Handsworth or Sheffield or anywhere else, because they can learn from the video as well. And don't forget, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification so that you get a notification whenever I post new videos. But remember though, only do subscription once. If you click it twice or you've done it in one video and you're doing it again in this video, all you're going to be doing is unsubscribing yourself from the channel. And don't forget, if you've got any questions, I know I am behind in responding to some of the comments, but I'm going to get to them very soon. So don't forget, leave a comment below, or you can also go through the about section and click the links in the about section on the contact, and you can message me via WhatsApp or the Facebook page. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and all the best with your driving lessons and your driving test. So here is a forward bay parking here, and she got one minor fault here. So that's where we had the driving fault, which is just a minor for control. So that could be for the that could be for steering control, or it could be for gear. I can't remember what it was, but it was control. So yep, that's really it. and it was a brilliant one. And fortunately enough, Jocelyn's partner, who they've both been watching the YouTube videos I've been posting together and binge watching, also passed his driving test just 2 hours after Jocelyn's test at the same test center on the same date. So it was a beautiful day. Unfortunately, I couldn't teach him because he was driving in a manual car, but I was pleased he was able to benefit from the videos we post as well. So that's why these videos are very good to help you prepare for your test and get yourself familiar with the test route. I was about to get so excited too soon, as you would see here, but then the examiner busted my bubble, said I should come through and listen to the feedback, and I thought she had failed. Gosh. But meanwhile, her driving was so good that the examiner wanted me to hear it and hear her say, excellent drive. Yeah, that was what the examiner said. That was what she said. Right on. Excellent. And of course, I couldn't have been more proud. So well done, Jocelyn.